So you're doing a bunch of other stuff with AI that I don't know how much you're willing to share or not, how much of it is a secret, but you're doing some other cool shit too.
Yeah, I mean, like I think the account qualification models is probably is like the geekiest piece for me. And this is kind of, it's an overlap of like what I talked about earlier about automating the SDR research. But effectively, if I can automate the collection of, and they call it scraping, enrichment from multiple sources, I've got a customer, they have 9 different things that they're looking for every customer, and what they want to see is they're in the SaaS financing space, and they want to look at 9 different things. And one is like CEO tenure, one is like percentage of folks in North America, one is revenue, number of employees, recent round, B2B, B2C, what is their pricing, do they offer services, what is the breakdown of services? And what you can do is basically build a number of enrichments that will gather you that data. And then I just build a prompt that says, hey, this is my customer. This is what one of their best customers looks like for each. Here's the data. And then I can have GPT, like I've written the prompt once and it can go down, and I did it yesterday and I had it spit out. I had to look at 560 companies and say, okay, on this 9-point scale, this is, these ones are good fits. These ones are not good fits. And to be able to go from like, I was thinking about like, how would I have built this list otherwise? Like it's so much of this is like needle in a haystack. And I'm sure the first version of the account qualification model isn't perfect, but even if you're doing this off of the description, GPT-4 can make some pretty decent inferences. And if you have the like web pilot or Bing or whatever it is enabled, you can have it scrape the company's website. And so you can say, hey, ChatGPT, here, like this is something that anybody can do and take home right now. Enable web access so GPT can go scrape a website or visit a website and then describe what a best customer looks like to you. Give it the name of a prospect and ask GPT if it thinks that would be a good prospect and why. That's something anybody can do. And I'm basically doing that. But I'm building in like 9 or 10 different enrichment points into that prompt, and I'm scaling it using a tool called Clay. So I can build my prompt once and then run it 1,000 times at scale. And that enables me to focus on, instead of the 1,000 companies on my list or the 26,000 sort of SaaS companies on the big list, how do I narrow it down and say, okay, let's just go after this small segment of companies? And I think stuff like that are these like niche. Yeah, that is a great example of like using ChatGPT's ability to read and parse text and then do some very basic rudimentary analysis. And for me, that's been working. It's been one of the things that's helped us kind of double the output of our SDRs this year.
Holy shit, double the output. So it's basically removing all of what are some of the other things that it helps you find? So is it like stuff like hiring, compelling events? Yeah, what are some of the other points that it's helping?
Well, it has access to, all your traditional databases, right? Contact and company databases. It can do LinkedIn, and it can automate a Google search, and then from an automated, so you could do like site, predictablerevenue.com, file type PDF, space, predictable revenue book, to look on our website to see if there's like a PDF of the book that we have hosted somewhere. And so you can automate those types of searches, and then you can have in the next column, you could have it scrape. You could have it visit the top search result from that query and then scrape that site. And so if you were looking for 10Ks, you could do, site, company domain, 10K, file type PDF, and it would pull the first result. Then you can have it scrape and parse that and then run your prompt to find all the things.
Yes. God, I can't imagine having if you had hundreds of reps and just being able to spoon feed them all of this information. Mm-hmm. It's like, I think that's really what it's about is, my good friend, guy Dan Strauss, he used to do strat sales at Zoom Info, was a great seller there. And the lesson I took away from him is like, you want your sales funnel to look more like a martini glass. It's like you want to really narrow down that top of funnel and figure out where am I just going to spend a lot of time and go very deep I think that's another kind of use case, is the prioritization. It's so hard to break into an account through calling, emailing, whatever other creative stuff that you want to do. Is let's just make sure at least that I'm playing the odds here and putting all this effort into where I'm most likely to get a favorable outcome based on things that I could find, but that I don't like, that there's just literally not enough time in the day for me to find. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's, I agree. It's prioritization is absolutely the number one thing that we're using it for. And I should caveat that it's not the only thing that we did that helped us double the output of our SDRs. It was one of the things. It was, I'd say, three major pillars. It was that for prioritizing the right accounts. It was another tool for basically automating and finding all the direct and mobile numbers, and then a parallel dialer like Orem. And those three things, if you're able to replicate that stack, you could probably double the output of your SDR team, as long as they're properly trained and you have a good idea of who your target account list should be. But back to our previous conversation, that's the number one thing that I think companies struggle with. And I haven't seen anything that has been able to automate that.